Two developments in the impeachment inquiry today. First, new testimony that could be damaging to President Trump.
Second, one of the president's recent tweets is drawing backlash, even from his own party. That story tops tonight's 90-second Nightcap.
A tweet from President Trump comparing the House impeachment inquiry to a lynching is sparking outcry from Democrats on Capitol Hill.
I resent it tremendously.
The Congressional Black Caucus condemned the president's tweet while the impeachment inquiry showed no signs of slowing down. Acting Ambassador to Ukraine Bill Taylor faced a crush of cameras on Capitol Hill. It was Taylor who raised red flags about a possible quid pro quo. He texted colleagues, "I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign." Sources described Taylor's closed-door testimony as lengthy and damning and said he did not walk back his position on the text messages.
Mark Zuckerberg defending his company's handling of election interference in 2016 as Facebook rolls out new security measures. Among other things, the company announcing it has removed 4 networks of fake accounts, 3 based in Iran and 1 in Russia that sought to disrupt elections around the world.
Tuesday, President Vladimir Putin welcomed Turkey's president to Sochi to discuss bringing peace to the Syrian border region. They reached a deal to jointly patrol the area and further push back the Kurdish fighters, whom Turkey sees as terrorists. Until recently, Kurdish fighters had partnered with the U.S. to fight ISIS. The U.S. troop pullout has left approximately 175,000 Kurdish civilians, including 70,000 children, scrambling to find safety.